Hello everyone, this is Megan and I'm here with process video 5. I'm going to show you some of the products I'm using today. These Teresa Collins buttons weren't in my original kit that I put together, but I just got them and I had to use them, so I added them in. I've got a bunch of little pieces and the papers that I'm using are reds and golds. I have this pink paper, but I don't like pink that much and I'm having a hard time using all of the pink in this kit I put together. So I flipped this page over. It was from a paper pad, so the back side is white and I'm just going to use it as a piece of white cardstock. Today I'm going to be making a grid layout, so I'm cutting down my pictures a little bit so that there's not so much dead space in the background. And I pretty much figure out right away where I think I want the pictures to go on the page. This piece has a butterfly on the top and a little chevron strip on the bottom, and I want to use both of those pieces, so I'm going to map my photo right in the middle of this paper so that I can still use both of the ends on another part of the layout. And then I'm going to mat the other photo on this patterned paper right here. It fits perfectly up in this little corner. And I know that I want the photos to be spread apart on the page. So I'm going to put one up over here and one down here on the side. Now I'm pretty much just going to go through all my papers and start cutting down some pieces and put them together so it's like a blocky grid type of layout. That little piece is from a frame I used in a previous layout, so it was just a leftover piece, and I really wanted to try to use up as many of the small little scraps that I could on this layout. I knew I was going to have to cut into some of the larger pieces of paper, but I definitely wanted to use all the small scraps. So I'm going to go ahead and tell you while I'm getting all of the pieces cut out and taped down. I have some trouble with this video. I record up to the point where my tape gun runs out of tape, and it takes me a few minutes to get it changed, so I end up cutting that part out. And then I get back on and start recording again, and for some reason my camera cut out on me. I don't know if the battery was dying or if there wasn't enough storage or what, but I did not end up being able to record any of the embellishing on this process video. But I did add in a bunch of still photos at the end so you guys can see all of the clusters that I used. And as I go through and get stuff taped down, I'll tell you some of the other things that I used for the embellishment clusters as well. So if I know where I want something to go, I go ahead and get it taped right down. I cut a piece from this, trying to eyeball it, but ends up being too small. So this time I'm going to measure it to make sure that I get the right size. I don't want to waste this paper. I love those flowers on there, so I definitely don't want to waste any more than I have to. And I'm going to cut this strip right down to where the photo ends. I'm just using a pencil to mark where I want to cut and using my scissors to cut it, not anything too special with my, every once in a while I use my paper trimmer, but for the most part I'm just eyeballing it and cutting them by hand. I'm going to put this piece down here. So this is another picture of my youngest son Gavin on his first birthday, the day we spent at the park, and this was his first time in the swing. We didn't really get a chance to do this kind of stuff last year because he was only a couple months old. So this year, when the weather started getting warm, this was really when we started taking him out and doing stuff. So this was his first time in the swing, and he loved it. He was smiling the entire time, and when he would come up, I would tickle his legs, and he'd laugh and go back, and then come back, and I'd tickle his legs again. And he didn't want to get out when it was time to go. So I'm going to use some more of this flower paper down here in the left-hand corner. And that strip that I'm putting down right now is actually where I end up putting my title. The title for this is just Swing. I use the red punch-out letters that I have, and these frames I do end up using, not here though, I use them as embellishment clusters, one next to the photo on the left and one down in the right-hand corner. And that small envelope thing, I can't use it. I try so hard to get it on this layout and it just doesn't work out. So I give up on that eventually. So yeah, then the title, I use some hashtag wood veneers to put on the front and the end of the title, which is Swing. And I didn't have an N, so I ended up using an M and cutting it down and re-gluing it so it looked like an N. And you'll see pictures of all these things at the end when I put the still photos up. So I'm just going to continue on to get all of the papers laid down, trimmed just right and laid down where I want them. I do underneath where I put the title on that strip of white paper with the flowers on it is where I also do my journaling on that red piece underneath. And here is where I run out of tape, or I know I'm going to run out of tape, so I grabbed another roll. I think I might be able to get one last piece taped down, but as I'm taping it, I run out right there. And I really struggle with this. I don't know how many times I've changed a tape gun, but because I was trying to do it on camera, I could not get it right. I had to turn the camera off, and I think it took me about 10 minutes to get that thing changed. Finally, I got it back together, and I think I'm still working on that. This is right before I turned off the video, and then I finally turned it off, or I cut that part out after I turned off part of it. And I get that last piece taped down. This is the last part of the video that you see anyways. I put a couple more pieces in to fill that blank white space. Some of those word cutouts over there on the left that say wish and hope, I end up cutting around the one that says laugh because I just think it's too big and bulky. You can see there I cut around it and taped it down onto a white piece. And that one that says cherish. Put the date up there in the corner. I used some of those hearts and those red enamel dots, and there's my title. So I'm sorry that you guys didn't get to see the embellishing, but here's the layout, and thanks so much for watching. Bye!